Hello everyone, this is Ms. Samra. So today I'll be showing you a trick to figure out trig value functions for entire table of all trig values, especially for most common angles like I have 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45, 60 and 90 degrees. When I was in school, we used to actually memorize all these values. So that's how our teacher actually gave us a shortcut to figure out entire table. So I thought like it's something worth it, like kind of worth sharing with you guys. And if your teacher makes you memorize all these values, you could just follow the shortcut and you can figure out entire table by using that. So let's start out with that. So let me show you how. So first, let's make a table, and first let me fill up all these trig functions here. So this is for sine. I have cosine, then I have tangent, cotangent, cosecant, and secant. Now the only thing you really have to pay attention to, you really have to understand all the relationships, like a reciprocal relationship, a co-function relationship among all trig functions. If you know all those relationships, then this whole table would be piece of cake for you. So let me just put all those angles. I have 0 degrees here, 30 degrees here, 45, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. So what you have to do is you just have to figure out this column. Once you're done figuring out sine column, basically rest of the table, all rest of the columns are based off first column. Okay, how to figure out the first column? So this is what you need to do. You just have to put few numbers. What are those numbers? Let me put those in. Okay, so I want you to start off with 0 here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then I want you to divide every single number by 4 and then take square root. Here you go. And let me tell you one thing. Once you have these numbers here, so pretty much you have everything you needed to complete this table. Trust me. All right, so let's simplify. 0 divided by 4 is 0, so square root of 0 would be still 0. 1 over 4, I can split up the radical, so that would be 1 over 2. Radical 2 over radical 4, which is radical 2 over 2. This is radical 3 over 2, and this is 1. Here you go. All right, now let's talk about the relationship. So first, what I know is sine and cosecant are reciprocal. So sine's reciprocal is cosecant. So I know if I know sine ratios, I can flip every fraction, and that would be my cosecant ratio. 0, it's undefined. Reciprocal 0 is undefined. 1/2 reciprocal is 2. Radical 2 over 2. So flip the fraction, then rationalize. It would be radical 2. Radical 3 over 2. Flip the fraction and rationalize. It's this and 1. Here you go. Now, cosecant and secant are co-function. So if you again, you really have to understand co-function identity. So cosecant of 0 degree would be equal to secant of 90 degrees. So let me just put co-functions. Basically, it's this whole column, you just have to take all these numbers and start, like the top one would go all the way down here. So this would be undefined down here. Then would be 2 here, radical 2, 2 radical 3 over 3, and it's 1. So basically, taking this whole column, you just have to flip the column, and that would be your secant value. Okay, once you have secant, you can follow same co-function identity down here. So let me just erase this arrow first, and let's take the pen and use a different color. All right, so sine and cosine are co-functions. So these are co-function. Or you can use secant column and take the reciprocal. That would be your cosine value as the same thing. I'm just going to follow co-function. So basically, it's just this sine column. Just flip the column. That would be your cosine. Sine of 0 would be equal to cosine of 90. So this 0 would go down here. Just flip the entire column. So this would be 1 over 2. This would be radical 2 over 2. This would be radical 3 over 2. And that would be 1. Here you go. All right. I just have tangent and cotangent left. This is where you have to use quotient identity. So quotient identity, based off that, you know tangent is equal to sine over cosine. So since I already know sine and cosine value, I would just divide. That would be my tangent. So 0 divided by 1 is 0. Then 1/2 divided by radical 3 over 2, it's radical 3 over 3. A number divided by 12, it's 1. Radical 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, radical 3. And 1 divided by 0 is undefined. All right, almost there. Now, tangent and cotangent, either you could take the reciprocal or these are cofunctions, so either ways. So you can say it's cofunction or you can just say reciprocal. Either ways, either you can flip the fraction or you can just take this entire column and flip it for cotangent. So I would just do that. It's a 0 down here, radical 3 over 3. It's 1, it's radical 3, and it's undefined. Here you go. And that's how we memorize, or that's how we actually remember all of these values for most common angles. So anytime if your teacher asks you to memorize, you could just make this column. You can start off with sine column. And once you have that, you can just figure out rest of the columns based off their relationship. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.